welcome back to the Southern Stew. How is everybody doing today? This fine evening. And I'm Gina.
Lisa. Cynthia.
And we may have Stephanie, I don't know. There's a lot of bad storms coming in and out of Kentucky right now, so she might pop in, she might not. We'll see. Place your bets.
For sure, for sure. Oh, I just want to clarify something. This has kind of been sitting on me, and I've had a long drive yesterday, and so I had a lot of thinking I could do. But on last week's discussion, we had no intentions of pissing anybody off. We only was voicing our opinions based on our childhood experiences as children in school. I have much respect for teachers because I worked in the school system for a little while, so I got to see firsthand the struggles. That being said, there is teachers that fail in their jobs. There are teachers that work really very hard and they don't stop working. They even take their work home. They're working 24/7. But there are some that get too relaxed in their jobs. Like I said, I got to see that. I got to, I've seen where kids fall through the cracks because there's only so much, there is only so much that a teacher can do. Their hands are tied. The government requires them to go by a certain standard of testing that they have, which I feel like has caused a lot of problems. We, as kids growing up, did not know at the time, and I'm sure if I can remember correctly, I don't know, but until we were adults, we were either diagnosed with dyslexia or ADHD as an adult. So I think they had a big impression as why it caused us so much problems learning in school. And being from a small town and not having the schools not having the funding and the stuff that they need for those type of children made it so hard as me as a kid in school. Unless you were not born with those type of problems trying to learn, um yeah, it's hard for you to, voice your opinion on somebody that dealt with that. But anyway, we had no intentions of making anybody mad. And
And one of the
only,
things I would like to bring up is that not only did we have our own opinions, own personal opinions about this,
yeah,
but in that episode, we also had dissenting opinions. It wasn't
yeah,
just one opinion, it was, for or
yeah,
against, whatever.
yeah.
And
And that's
that's
the
what we
whole
strive to
point.
do.
And that's the whole point of the podcast. And my last point that I want to get across before we end this whole discussion and not to bring it back up again. We are not the type of people that are aggressive. We're not rude. We don't want to, we'll listen to anything that anybody has to say. And I would greatly appreciate it if somebody that knows who we are personally don't come up to a family member and be aggressive and rude to them just because we voiced our opinion on something. If you have a problem with something that we said, we are all ears. We would be more than glad to hear what you feel or how you feel about something that we said, and we will address it. But please don't be that person. Don't
Yep.
be that rude person to come up and cause problems. I mean, I can't fathom ever doing that to anybody personally myself. I could never do that. But anyway, okay.
I
So
agree. I
that's
agree.
squash. Okay. So the agenda today is the things we did in school back in the days in the late 80s for us. Not these two. It's these two in here in the screen. That would have been when they's itty bitty. But in the early 90s. Um, so in the small town that we grew up in, there was nothing for us kids to do. Not a thing. Not a thing. And if there was something to do, you would have to drive a pretty good distance just to go to the theater. So we had, what, two red lights in downtown? Is there two? There are three. It's been so long. Anyway, so straight
Three.
now. Huh?
I think there's two, isn't there? No, I guess you're right. Three. There's
I,
three.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think so. We had this straight long shot. We went down the courthouse square, which was a circle. You go around the circle, come back straight back down, and then you circled the little shopping center parking lot, which most people we would have lawn chairs either on the down to that strip and sitting in the
Yeah.
back of vehicles of the truck or sitting beside cars. It's whoever had the loudest speakers with the coolest music and
Yep.
smoking cigs, which we thought was the cool. Sorry, you smoker girls there. I just,
It
teenagers
used
smoke
and it was bumper to bumper.
constantly. Friday, Saturday night, you can count on it. That was our social what's the word I'm looking for? Our
That,
oh my
that's just the
god.
way
Your
we
hangout spot.
socialized.
That was your hangout spot.
Well, I know it was our like Instagram, Facebook. That was our way
Of
to
communicating, of hanging out with our friends, communication. That is how we kept up with each
our
other. Was
social
we
media. That's the word I
Yeah,
was looking for. Social media. That was our social media.
yeah.
So we entertained each other. If we had a problem with somebody, we spoke to them face to face. We didn't get on the computer and bash each other. We made a phone call. Hey, I'm going to be at the square. Come on down. We'll settle this man to man. That's just the way it
Yep.
was,
Yep.
and I miss those days. I really.
Me too. Me too.
So the things that we did,
Oh man, what didn't we do?
so I just remember one time, you want to be so cute. You get cleaned up and you just want to be so cute when you go riding around, you blasting your music. And we had the 80s hair, the big hair or whatever. I'll never forget one time when school let out, because that was another time. As soon as school let out, everybody circled a few times before they had to go home. But anyway, we was a mom's station wagon that we called the party wagon because it held a lot of friends and all the sisters and everything, cousins, whoever wanted to ride. Yeah, sure, get on in, let's go. And our goofy sister, I'm going to treat her like Voldemort, that shall not be named. Um, I'm just joking. Debbie, we would put raisinets on our teeth to look like we had teeth missing. So when a guy would go by, we'd just grin and smile. We'd have
They'd be
it
like,
look like crap and be hollering, "Hey, baby!" Yeah,
and it wasn't centered in our little town. People would come from
everywhere.
everywhere. They would all come down to the town to go cruising. You would have guys from, 3 counties over.
Yeah,
Some
People would
people
come from
even
all
from
over just
another
to go
state,
cruising.
another
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So the funny things that would happen, I specifically remember someone throwing a whole bottle of dish liquid into the bank fountain. So
Oh,
there
yes.
was dish liquid, I mean, big bubbles. Sorry, dish liquid, just bubbles all going across the street, and it was
Oh,
a
yes.
yeah, and it was a color of dish liquid, and it was just hilarious. I don't remember.
Mm.
I just remember dish
Well,
liquid
the
everywhere. No,
fountain sat right next to the main drag, too.
yeah,
So the fountain was right next to the main road where you would go up to go to the court square. And I
mm,
can remember just big, huge mounds of bubbles going across the two lanes. just, they were just going everywhere, and everybody was just laughing. They
yeah,
just thought it was hilarious. I
yeah.
can remember there was a grocery store too. Remember the grocery store, the big parking lot, A&P parking lot,
Yep.
and they would leave shopping carts, buggies, out in the parking lot, and people would get in the buggies and have kart
Racing.
racing.
Yeah, kart racing. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people got tipped over. Got a lot of
Yeah,
road rash.
yeah.
A lot of road rash. I remember somebody stealing it was a lotto sign off of APE APP's wall, and and there was a girl that was well known, and somebody didn't like her, and I remember they wrapped it around her car, and it said "more bang for your buck."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually pretty funny.
It was funny. I mean, it could have, we did. There was, like I said, we
Kids.
if you were in shoe with each other, you faced that. You couldn't hide from it, other than putting a sign on somebody's car and like, who did this? But yeah, don't sleep with
Such is
somebody's
life.
friend and let that town know about it because it's a small town. They gonna know.
Oh, yeah.
So
Question.
And and it was a harmless, trick
yeah,
too. It's not that they did damage to anybody's vehicle or anything like that. Yeah, they did take the sign down from the store, which is a no-no, but they didn't cause any harm to her vehicle or anything like that. So,
yeah.
They didn't hurt her.
kids being kids, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and
So,
I think they took mustard packs. Somebody took mustard packs or something. Now this is all. If somebody does something in town there, it's gonna get told. It goes around. But anyway, uh put mustard packs or something underneath the door handle so when you go to open it, you're just sticking your hand right into it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's a
yeah,
good prank.
yeah.
A
And
lot
they
of drag.
were,
There was a lot of
they,
drag racing
oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, they would have what they would call like scouts. People would be in town, to watch for the law.
Yeah.
Because, people didn't have cell phones. You
No.
couldn't call ahead and be like, the law's on the way. No, you had these people that would be on lookout. So they would watch for the cops and then this person, if they saw the cops or, they would pull up and actually be having conversations with them because they were friendly. They knew them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they heard it come across the scanner and the cops, they would, well, I gotta go, man, and they'd go down the road and they'd flash their headlights at this car, which would turn around and drive down and flash their headlights at that car,
Yeah.
and just send the signal down to
Well,
wherever
and there
they
was a
were
lot of
drag
them had
racing so everybody knew to clear out.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
The other things that I can remember is people going, because it being a county that was dry, if somebody wanted wine coolers or beer or whatever,
yeah.
they went to the
Moonshine.
bootleggers. It was the bootleggers. And there was specifically one story I'll never forget. I went with some friends and they wanted to go get wine coolers or something. I don't remember what it was. And I was in the back seat of the car. I was scared to death. And we go up this holler and we pull up to this really ratty, sketchy looking trailer. And there was no porch. And I just remember Granny opening up the door with a wad of backer in her mouth. We won't. And they told her, gave her the money, and she goes out the door, closes the door, but you could see her on the other side of the trailer. She goes and she kept the beer or whatever it was in the creek and it'd be cold. She asked them that, do you want it cold or you want just regular? Oh, well, you got it cold. Yeah, she put it in the creek and then it kept it good and cold. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get shot that night. I never went again. I said, I'll not ever go back there again. No.
We would have, I remember this one time we brought our lawn chairs and we set it up. Like we said, it was bumper to bumper. So we had our lawn chairs and we had them lined up right next to the road, and we sitting there and, we had our music blasting out of the car behind us. And, we thought we was the stuff. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
we sitting there and these vehicles would go by with guys in it and we would rate them. We'd hold up big signs like he's a 10, or he's 5. We're going to rate him a 5 and be like,
Oh, he's got
dog,
the mullet. Yeah. He's got the
yeah,
mullet. He's cool. He's cool.
yeah. And fire symbol. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
fire. We did that stuff. That was our emojis back then, but we did it right to their face. and they was no hiding it. So, and then we was a little mischievous, but we would have those little tiny squirt guns, the little bitty ones.
In the
We
dollar
would fill
store.
those up with water, and when the girls would go by with their hair all done and the makeup, and of
No.
course, like, yeah, we would get them with the squirt gun, and they'd, yeah, we did that too. Yeah.
So Gina, we know you didn't cruise a lot, so what was your biggest adventure that you can remember? School years.
Oh my gosh, biggest? I don't know. Like, I can tell you that at one point I found out that I could fit, because I drove this blue, what was it, 85 Celebrity. I mean, it was old. It was old even then, it was old. But I found out one day that I could fit 10 people and a chihuahua into that car. And the reason why is because we were deciding that we were going to go to the lake, lay out of school, we were going to go to the lake. And it was just supposed to be like me, my best friend, and like four other people. Ended up being me, my best friend, those four other people, and each one decided to bring another person. And then we had to go get this boy that I knew. He was like everybody's friend. He was playing hooky or playing sick from school that day, but he wasn't sick. But we had to go to his house and pick him up. Now, I was the only one that had a car at this time, so I was the one that was driving. But I told everybody they had to give me money for gas, and everybody was like pitching in, dollar here, dollar there, whatever. Because that was back when
Yes.
a gallon of gas was $1. So we went to his house to pick him up, and we already had a car full of people, and it was one of those really long back seats. It was just
Bench.
one long
The
bench
bench
seat.
seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we had three people sitting back there, actually four people sitting back there, and then people sitting on their laps, and then there was my best friend, and then me, and then we go to his house to pick him up, and we get there. He comes out because his mom wanted him to stay and watch. He had to watch the chihuahua. Don't ask, I don't know. So he comes out carrying this chihuahua and like a case of beer, and tosses the chihuahua in and sets the case of beer in the back, and then he has this, like, you remember those old McDonald cups that you could get, those collector cups, those huge ones?
Yeah.
He had one of those full of ice and water, and he sits it down in my cup holder. And this guy, Cynthia knows who I'm talking about, he maybe weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. He was super skinny.
He's
And
small.
so he's like, where the hell am I supposed to sit? Because the back seat's completely full. And I'm like, well, hop on, get on my best friend's lap. She's shotgun. So he sits on her lap, and we drove all the way to the next town over, like 40, not 40 miles, but like 30 miles
It's a good 40
to
minute
this lake,
drive.
this private lake that we knew of, like that. Can you imagine? It's like a clown car, us getting out. And of course, I'm driving down the road, and there's two people sitting here, a bunch of people sitting in the back, and everybody, blah, 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 blah. And then the chihuahua sitting right there in my console area, licking the ice water from this cup that's in the cup holder. And blah, 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 blah. It was hilarious. And then we go to the lake, and everybody spills out of the car and the chihuahua, and they open up beer. I don't drink. I've never drank. I always thought beer tastes like piss. So, um,
Stroke.
plus I was driving, so I was DD. But we swam around all that day, and I had to get everybody back to school in time to catch the bus, go home. We get all back into this car, and with the chihuahua, but we're running behind because, dumbasses aren't, getting in the car fast enough, can't get them out of the lake or whatever. So I'm flying down the road to get them guys back to the high school. We get there, And I'm like, get out of the car. And I pull it right next to the freaking buses. And I'm like, get out, get out. And then the Chihuahua jumps out, and here he goes, jumps out, and he's still wearing his like swim trunks. He's running around barefooted in his swim trunks, chasing the Chihuahua around the bus stop. And I'm like, oh God, we're gonna get caught bigger as shit. And they're all getting out, spilling out of the car and stuff. There's some are still just like soaking wet. Kids are hanging out the windows from the bus, and they're like, ah, where have you guys been? Ah. They're like, well, we went swimming. Oh, why did you take us? I'm like, screw you. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. I thought for sure shit we were going to get in so much trouble, but we
I
didn't.
listen. I was, as Stephanie can confirm, I was the queen of laying out of school.
Oh yeah.
I
Yes, you
hated, I despised school so bad because, again, I suffered poorly in school because of my issues.
Well, I will challenge that title, ma'am.
Oh, sister.
I didn't even see my entire sophomore year.
I got kicked out of one school only because, not because I stayed in trouble, because I never went. They kicked me out. Did they not, Stephanie?
This is
Kicked,
true.
kicked me out of one school, then turned around and kicked me out of the other school only because I was never there.
Truancy, it's terrible for you.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was so bad. I remember one time, I don't know if I told this, but I was at an aunt's house, and she said, if you clean my house,
Yeah, you told this story
yeah,
before.
I won't tell on you. Yeah, so I just didn't want to be there because I was so behind in school and just
Oh,
anyway.
she looked
But
up.
yes, I was the queen of it.
She
One
didn't
of
want to be there.
our friends was older and was already graduated or whatever. May he rest in peace. He was such a good guy. But anyway, he came to school, signed us out, and I've yet to figure out how he did that. Me and my friend Tina, may her rest in peace too, came and he's like, hey, I signed you all out of school. Let's go. We're going to go shopping. And I was like, what? Yeah. So Tina wore a skirt that day. I'll never forget it. She was running up the stairs. How do you fall running up the stairs? But she did. And her skirt flies up over her head. She was so embarrassed. But we ran to our locker, get our stuff. We went shopping that day.
That's funny.
Two
Uh,
two wonderful people gone.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I've got several that's passed.
There's some that have passed, and sadly enough for me, some that has passed from my time in school. It was drugs, and it's sad. It's completely avoidable, but
Yeah.
what can you do?
That's the sad part of that story, but oh, I don't know why I'm just drawing blanks, but there's the things we did. Just
So many. I
wish
can remember.
I wish somebody would kind of just respond to the podcast and tell us some of your stories. We'd love to hear it. We was
Oh
probably
yeah,
there. If you have one that you remember us, and we're
tell
kind of,
us.
yeah, menopause brain here. I can't remember everything. I have I can't remember crap half the time anymore. So I would love to hear. I would
Yeah,
love
and
to
if
see
we're
pictures.
remembering it wrong, I mean, tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
If you remember it in a different way, tell us. We'd love to
Oh
see
yeah.
it, hear it. I mean, hell, it's been too many years. So,
yes.
like for me, let's see, a great time, school years. Well, when I
You hung out.
was,
You hung out back a lot at Central, didn't you? Because you was a smoker.
yeah, well, okay, so the school that I went to, or the high school that I went to, we had an area in the back that was a legit smoking
That's
area for
interesting.
students.
I
And
think
yeah,
you were. Was you not the last group that was allowed to do that, or was that you, Cynthia? Because they cut that out
it
eventually.
was it was us. We were like one of the last, but they put it out there because they just couldn't get us to stop. Like they would, and when we first started, we were smoking back there, illegally or whatever. But they couldn't get us to stop, so they decided, okay, well, instead of them, accidentally setting the damn school on fire, we're gonna give them this corner so that they can't set nothing on fire. And we're like, okay, cool. And so we used to call ourselves the Outback crew because that's what we're like, hey, I'll meet you out back. We'll go smoke a cigarette, we'll, talk, chill, whatever. And it was perfectly okay as long as you were behind this line in this certain spot. We'd go out back, have our cigarettes, and go to class.
It was kind of cool though. Kids could be themselves, even though it's
Good
not a
for
good
you.
thing to do. And now they got the vaping or whatever, but we had the bookstore that we could go to and leave right. It was on campus, the little building. We walk and get potato chips and candy bars and a pop and
Well, they got rid of all vending machines when I was there. And it was because they would too often times get vandalized. Um, but, when you are incredibly popular in school, like me, you had a lot of, faculty and staff that also loved you just as equally. And I could just be like, hey, here's $1. Could you go get me a Dr. Pepper out of the machine? And like, hey, yeah. They would go in there and get me a Dr. Pepper. They would go down to the bus garage and get me a Dr. Pepper. And I'd be like, thank you very much. And I'd walk around with my Dr. Pepper. They're like,
well,
where the hell did you get a cold can of Dr. Pepper? And I'm like, well, got my ways. But,
you must have been lucky because that never happened for me while I was there. I don't bet you girls, but no.
well, I can tell you, some teachers absolutely hated my guts. Some teachers loved me to death. And they loved me to death. And they loved me to death because, how can you not? I mean, I'm amazing. No, it's because I was just goofy and, and silly and funny. And I treated everybody the same. I didn't care if you were, a
That's
footballer, a
yeah,
cheerleader, or,
that's
you
what that
know,
was me. Yeah,
yeah, pothead. I didn't care. I
I
didn't
was
care.
all
I
over
loved
the place.
everybody.
I was all over the
Same.
place when
Yeah.
You
I
know,
was when I was there. It was
everybody
either
loved Cookie.
out back, upstairs, wherever. I was so bad. I remember going to English class one day, and this guy turned around and he goes, "Are you new here?"
Well, see, here's the thing: was when I was at school and I didn't feel like laying out that day or whatever, I wouldn't be in the class I was supposed to be in. I would actually be in the art class 90% of the time. That's where I was at. I wasn't supposed to be in art class, but that's where I was at all the time. And if I
Mm.
wasn't in art class, I was next door in the home economics class making cookies for everybody in the art class. I was always between those two classes. And if I wasn't there, occasionally I would go to class. And it was usually because there was somebody in that class that I wanted to talk to that day, or I really needed to take one particular test so I could not completely fail bomb that test or that class. The teachers knew where I were at. They always knew because they would send notes to the art room. Gina, you've got a biology test this Friday. Make sure you show up. Okay. And I would show up and I would study just enough to make a C, and then that was it. I
Isn't
didn't
it
care.
crazy to know that? By the way, I better say I did finish school. I talk about all these, that I got kicked out of, get kicked out of. I did finish school, just so y'all don't think I'm a complete idiot. I did finish.
I did not finish school.
Well, we did.
I
I
quit. I
didn't,
quit
but
school.
Got your
hello,
GEDs.
there's only one college educated, but there's only one that actually finished the correct way.
Me.
Yes.
But again, that was not our fault. Not our fault.
I No, it was definitely my fault. When I
Well, it
quit
was not mine.
school, see, I when I left my main high school, I traveled and went to two other high schools, but in that
Well,
time,
that's what I'm saying. It was not your
and
fault because of our home life situation that we were going through and the school system. It
no,
was,
sister, listen, this was definitely my fault. I I was going to a Tennessee school
Thanks.
at this point. The last school that I went to was a Tennessee school. And again, and you kind of learn survival techniques as you have to go from school to school to school to school. And one of your survival techniques, if you're brand new, and especially in high school, is get popular quick. And the way you get popular quick is you look around and you find the cutest guy that everybody knows is the cutest guy, and you say, "Hey, you're mine now." And so that's what I did. I looked around, quarterback of the school football team, hot as hell's, dumb as a fucking rock. All right, you're my boyfriend now. And he, not question it, new girl, could sing really good. All right, cool. She's kind of cute. All right. And here's the thing, I didn't even like the
Um,
kid.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we are getting a warning, so I've got to go.
No, you gotta go in the basement.
Yeah, buddy, we getting some wild weather here in this part of Kentucky right now, buddy. I'm wondering if I'm going to float over the rainbow and end up where Dorothy is. So, but yeah, I got to go. Peace out.
Okay.
Be back
Be
later
safe.
if I'm willing. Okay, bye.
Okay. Okay.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Yeah. So
All right.
you're totally killing, making me look bad.
Okay. So
You just
listen,
said
listen.
you're mine, and that was it.
Honey,
I
I
could
don't
have
think you
never.
realize
I could have
I
never.
could have anything I wanted.
I could have never.
Listen, I'm gonna just say right now, I may be fat right now, but I was saucy in high
First of
school.
all, I know. I'm your oldest sister. I know you were, but I was
I
just.
was saucy minx.
I'm just talking about because when you were at that age, I was doing my own thing.
Yeah,
So
you were.
you know me, I was never aggressive when
No, I was.
it comes to that. I was never ever.
Well, here's the thing though, and they used to pick at me about it in high school. I was a virgin. I was a virgin, and no one else my age was. And this is the late '90s.
Yeah.
So they would pick at me a lot. They'd be like, "Oh, what is it? You afraid of it?" And I'm like, "No." I just
Choose not
never
to.
wanted. Yeah, I just chose not to have relations with a boy unless I felt like that was the boy I was going to marry. That was just the way I felt.
Yeah.
And in some sense, I think for some boys that ended up dating me, it was almost like a challenge for them
Yeah.
to see
Let's
if
see
they
if I
could
can
get in my
break her.
pants.
Yeah. Let's see if I can
Right.
break her.
But for others, they had no idea that I wasn't going to give it up until they, started dating me, and then they realized, nah.
Yeah.
This girl is like, no. And I would just tell them straight up, I'm like, listen, no, I'm sorry, we just started dating. I'm not that kind of girl. If you're looking for that kind of girl, there's tons of them out there. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I'm not that. But if I wanted to date a boy, I could date him like that. It didn't matter if they had a girlfriend, how cute they were. There was nothing out of my league when I was in high school. Absolutely nothing. And so when I went to that school, that's what, again, survival tactic. Brand new high school chick from out of state.
This sounds like a Lifetime TV show on what to do.
It kind of, to me, it kind of sounds like one of those old 80s movies or whatever, like, but it's true. It's absolutely true. I literally picked this guy to date him just as a survival tactic, just so I could become popular quick. And so I'm dating him for maybe a week. And yeah. And so he's going into class and I'm going into class, and his classroom is right next door to mine. And so I reach over to him because these girls were watching, and I give him a peck around the lips. Just a peck. Wasn't making out, just a peck. No big deal, right? Especially from the high schools I had previously been to. This was no big deal. Just a peck on the lips, go into your class. I turned around, that teacher looked at me like I had just flashed the boy or something. She looked at me, she goes, to the office right now. And I'm like, what? And she goes, you heard me. You get to the office. And I'm like, okay. So I walk to the office and I get there and I sit there forever. And I guess she goes up there and talks to the principal or whatever. And I'm sitting there in his office waiting. He finally comes in and he's like, you know what you did, Busy? And I'm like, yeah, I kissed my boyfriend. And he was like, you know that's not allowed here at this school, right? And I'm like, oh no, sorry, didn't know that. Brand new, been here for like maybe less than a month. And he was like, well, I hate to do it to you because I know that you're new here, but we're gonna have to paddle you. And I'm like, bitch, what? I am I am 17, nearly 18 years old at this point. And I'm like, I don't think so. You're not paddling me. And he was like, you need to just come on over here and get in the hallway. We're gonna have Miss whoever supervise while I paddle you. And I'm like, I don't care what kind of weird kink you have, but you ain't touching me. And he got red in the face. And he started yelling at me. He's like, I don't know how they do that shit where you used to come from, but this is how we do shit here. And I was like,
Cussed
no,
you?
see ya.
He cussed you?
Yeah, he cussed me.
Wow.
Because I told him, I was like, I said, literally looked at him, I said, I don't know what kind of kink you're into, but you're not touching me. And because I was mad, I was like, there's no way. I haven't been paddled since like third grade. And I thought that shit was outlawed. And he had the paddle and everything. He was ready to go. He was like, get out in the hallway. We're going to have Miss whatever supervise. And I'm like, you're not paddling me. So I walked out while he was yelling at me. I walked out. I'm like, fuck you. I drove my ass to this school. I'm driving away, bitch. I ain't staying here. So I got in my car and I left. Never went back.
I was curious why you quit, but
Yep,
I
that was
didn't
why I
know.
quit. And it was so funny because everybody was like, why'd you quit school? You're literally a senior. Why did you quit school? And I'm like, I ain't getting pedals. Fuck that
You
shit.
know, after hearing all your all stories, I am like the complete angel over here. And I'm the one that caught the girl's bathroom on fire. So I'm sitting here and like, wow.
I never said I was an angel.
And I didn't do anything bad. I just refused to go to school.
I became the most like perfect student.
Oh gosh.
I was top 10% of my class. I hardly ever missed. All the teachers loved me. I only skipped on senior skip day, and it was only because other people talked me into it.
I hated school. I
I
hated
did.
school because it was boring.
I loved
It
it.
was
I think
boring as shit.
I think that was my biggest issue when I was there, other
Mm.
than I had two teachers to actually embarrass me in front of class really bad, and I left in tears, and I fight refused to go back into
Oh,
class.
yeah, I hate that shit.
That happened to me in middle school and high school, and I said, no, I was done. At that point, I was done.
I
So,
had some teachers like that too. That would just bully you, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
One in particular because I was who I am and not like super girly girly or whatever. She would make fun of me on a daily basis. She's like, "Oh, look at you! You put lipstick on. Who taught you how to do that?"
Yeah.
I only had bad teachers in elementary school.
I had bad teachers all throughout my life, but again, I was juggled all throughout the different school systems,
Yeah.
all up and down the different counties and stuff around that area. So, I mean, I went to several different schools, but I did find them incredibly boring. And like I said, if I knew a test was coming up, I could pass it. I'd go in there, pass it. May not get a straight A, but I'd pass it. And I always went to history classes because I liked history.
Hmm.
I found that when I was in high school, the teachers that I got along with is the ones that really, really wanted to teach. And then the ones I didn't really like was the ones that just didn't give a crap. You know what I'm talking about. So there was several. That was really great.
Oh
They
yeah.
and if I wanted to know how to do something, they would sit down and explain it to me. I
I
felt
know.
bad for the math teacher because I would learn it, get it, make A's, and then about I don't know 6 months after I got out of their class, it's gone.
I
Mhm.
mean,
Never would, never would keep it. It would
I
never
invited
just
one of
stay.
my teachers to my wedding. I loved her,
Oh, our
and
art teacher.
my art teacher was like my second mom. I loved her. I love her to this day. You
My
know who you are if you're listening. She's an amazing woman. She inspired so many students to do more, and so many students to get clean. And that was one thing that she was really good at. Was a lot of kids that would come in there, history of home abuse and drug abuse because of it or whatever. A lot
Mhm.
of them got clean because of her. A lot of them got their degree and went to college because of her. She was an amazing, amazing
she was
teacher.
pretty awesome. I think she's the reason why I was so scared of having sex. It wasn't because of you girls. It was her. My freshman year, before we would go to lunch, she had STD pictures, and she would make us all look at them before we can go to lunch. And she said,
Yep.
just so you know, this is what unprotected sex is. Even with a condom, you're going to end up with this. And here I was like, here I'm thinking babies, you know, but then I'm like, ooh. And then she's like, and some of this doesn't even show up right away. It can show up after years. And you don't want that crap to get into your body. And here I'm like, so all these guys are, and I dated. I had several boyfriends. And yeah, I stayed a virgin all the way up till I graduated.
Several.
I messed around a little bit, but I didn't have sex.
Well, I ended up marrying the one that I finally gave into. So,
Oh,
yeah.
She's so sweet.
this picking.
Listen, I had a crush on him since I was 13. He was the one that I wanted and the one that I couldn't say, you're mine, too. You know what I'm saying?
But you did. But you
But
did.
I did, and he was the only one I ever wanted. So when I got him, that was it. That was it for me. I was done. There was no other boy. And see, what that was the thing is that I was dating that quarterback, when and he asked me, my husband wasn't my husband at the time, but he asked me if I wanted to go out for lunch. And I'm like, sure. And so we went out to lunch. And after that, he's like, would you like to go out to lunch again sometime? And I'm like, absolutely. I called that boy up and I broke up with him. I was like, I can't, sorry. He was like, are you coming back to school? I'm like, probably not. But that was one thing I can honestly say 100% I've never cheated on any boy I've ever dated. Ever. If I thought I liked another boy, that I knew that boy was going to ask me out, I would break up with the boy before that. I've never cheated
This is my
on
best
another
boy.
boy.
This is my best.
That's the bestest boy right there.
This is Kodak. He's the best boy ever. Best.
Hi, Kodak. Cody.
Oh,
He put his paw on him. Aw.
Yeah.
Did you, Cody?
Say I
I
love
did go cruising a few times.
you.
Oh, I remember. We'll talk about cruising. I remember one particular time that I went cruising, and I'm trying to remember who it was with. I want to say it was with our sister Stephanie and somebody else. But anyway, I had just dyed my hair like superwoman red. I was, see, I don't know. I can't remember how old I was, but I know it was by this time I was no longer going to that school, to the first school. But rewind a little bit. When I was younger, before high school, I was teased a lot. I was called fatty, fatty, 2x4, all a lot. And bullied a lot. And so when I was growing up, I was such a tomboy and stuff. I never wore anything that was girly. I never did makeup. I didn't do any of that stuff. And so these two girls that I knew from school, and this is kind of a sad story, but these two girls I knew from school wouldn't give me the time of day. They would oftentimes like, like snarl their nose at me or whatever. But they but we had a mutual person that we knew, and that was through Stephanie. Stephanie's best friend was her best friend was the sister of this one of these girls. And so this girl wanted to, and her best friend or whatever wanted to come over and spend the night with me. So they came up to me in class one day, or I think it was during PE, and they asked if they could come spend the night with me. And I'm like, what? Because they were like super preppy, super popular, and I was always like teased, and I think this was like sixth grade.
Totally appropriate.
Yeah, and I thought, you want to come spend the night with me? And they're like, yeah, this, I want to, we want to come spend the night with you, and just have a girls' night or whatever. We can stay above your dad's garage, and because they knew about that from Stephanie's friend. And I'm like, okay. So I was really excited. Like, I went out my way. I made like 2 big gallons of like different kinds of Kool-Aid and sandwiches, and got like, I fixed up the whole upstairs above Dad's garage and stuff, and asked Dad if if we could have a slumber party, and Dad was so shocked because I never had stuff like this, and he thought I was gay anyway, because I only played with boys, so for me to have a female slumber party, Dad was gobsmacked. He was like, heck yeah, you can have these girls over, you can stay the night above the garage and have a girl sleep over, and I'm like, yeah, because I was excited.
Yeah.
I was always picked on. And so these girls coming over was like a big deal. And so they came over, and we're sitting up there, and trying to be a great hostess. And the entire time they're kind of making fun of me, and I'm trying to just, to eat it. And then they're like, oh, it's really, you think your parents are asleep now? And I'm like, maybe. And it's probably 10 o'clock at night or something like that. They're like, do you think we could walk up the road? And I'm like, what? And they're like, you think we could go up the road and see these boys that live up the road from here? And I'm like, those guys? Why? I played with these guys like every day. And basketball and football and stuff like that. They were my friends. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Why? They're like, well, let's just go. Let's go walk up there and see if they're awake. And I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. They're not awake. We walk up there. Apparently, this was all coordinated. They told them that they were coming, and they used me to get up there.
Wow.
Yeah, they used me to get up there to see these boys.
Oh.
And
Oh.
so I felt like pure ass because the two, I guess, older, cuter boys or whatever, I played basketball with them all the time, football, and we were friends. But they were all like, making out and stuff. I wasn't really into that sort of thing at the time. Like I said, it was like sixth grade. So I was like, what, 12? And then this other kid that was there was like my age. Him and I were like best friends, and he was the only other boy on the outs, and I was the only other girl on the outs. So they were like trying to get us to like make out and stuff. And I'm like, no, no. And I felt kind of bad because every time he said that though, he would look at me like someone just offered him a big steamy turd to like make out with me. He would be like, you know what I'm saying? And he would like,
Yeah.
ugh, no, ugh. And I was like, no, that's weird, but at the same time, ouch, that hurts.
Yeah. Could you not have said it like that?
Yeah, I mean, you could have said no without making it seem like someone just
Yeah.
offered you a giant turd.
Yeah, she's like my sister. No.
Yeah. Or she's my best friend, that's weird, or
Oh.
something like that. Instead of me going, "Bleh, no. But anyway, so it kind of hurt my feelings, but I was like, whatever. And the whole night was a lesson of fuck them bitches. And
Oh my gosh.
this is why I hate women. But anyway, so we go back. It's like 12 o'clock midnight, and I'm finally like, can we just go back before my dad finds out that we've snuck out and whooped my ass because of you stupid bitches? They're like, sure. And so we go back and we go to sleep, and I never talked to him again. Like, literally never talked to him again. I'm like, screw you, hoes. Anyway, so fast forward years later, I dyed my hair like this Supergirl red, looking fine as flies, baby. I was hot as hell, not gonna lie. And we're cruising around, and this red truck pulls up next to. They keep like beeping at us or whatever, and so they pull up next to us. We're trying to figure out who the hell it is, And if it's not that boy that I grew up with, who said, "Bleh, bleh," and then he's all of a sudden leaning out the truck going, hey, Cookie, you looking good, Cookie, looking good. You want to ride with us? And I'm like, "Bleh, bleh." No, fucker. So I got my revenge that night, a little bit. But it wasn't his fault. I had to say it wasn't his fault.
That's funny.
But it was nice to be able to be like, oh, now suddenly I'm all tasty and you want to taste. Well, guess what? Mm-mm.
Not happening.
Girls off the menu tonight. But
I remember what Stephanie said about doing the cue cards, um, grading people.
oh,
So I was staying the night with some girls, and they're like, "Let's go cruising," and I'm like, "Okay." So we go, and we do the thing where you go to the red light, and then the driver and the passenger switches real fast, and everybody switches sides of the cars. So we did that, and
wait a
I
minute,
thought that
there's a
was
name
fun.
for that.
I can't remember what it was called.
Chinese something.
Chinese firehouse.
Yes.
Chinese fire alarm.
Something like that.
So,
Yeah.
so we do that, and it's funny because we're not the only ones. There's other people doing it, so we do it, and then and the girls I'm with, they're kind of like the bad girls in high school, but I was like, yeah, let's go do some naughty stuff because Dad was like, if I ever catch you doing this, your ass is grass, because I know what your older sisters did, and you're not allowed to do nothing. So
Yeah, thanks for that, older sisters. Because
Gina,
of that, we were constantly watched over like hawks.
I couldn't go so
I
far down the
didn't
road.
do anything bad.
I couldn't go to a
Everything just
football
is-
team. I couldn't go to a football game.
I couldn't either.
I never went to a football game. Ever. Never.
I
Wasn't allowed.
couldn't even.
So it wasn't
I
me.
had limit of how far I could walk down the road.
And
Well,
it was funny. It was funny is that the funniest thing was is that Dad was incredibly overprotective, but me and Cynthia were like the least promiscuous. We're just like no, like we had active, we had had opportunities abound, but we always said no, and it was just kind of funny
Me,
that Dad would put these restrictions on us, and he didn't need to.
which was
Anyway.
hilarious because I'm the one that had like a long-term boyfriend for the longest time, and for like 2 years, and I was surprised he even let me go to prom with these guys. And then my junior year, I went with another boyfriend, and then my senior year, I went stag. I'm like, this is the only prom out of 4 years I'm gonna go without a guy, and I'm excited about this, right? So Dad was like, "You can go," and then I said I was going to make sure my childhood friend Travis, you guys remember Travis? I'm like, he wasn't going to go to our senior prom. I'm like, dude, you're going. If I have to buy your ticket, you're going to go. So Dad was like, okay, I'm cool with you riding with Travis. I get there, and Travis is like, hey, so I'm going to go to this party. You want to go? And I'm like, no, because I knew if I went to that party, Dad would find out, and my butt would be, I wouldn't be able to sit for a week. I'm just like, no. I'm like, nah, you go ahead. I'll find a way home. So my friend Daniel, if you ever hear this, um, he is gay, and I love him. Bless his heart. He's the best guy ever. And he's like, I'll take you home, right? So we get to the house. He drops me off, gives me a hug, goodbye, because we're friends. And Dad's sitting in the dark waiting on me. Who's that boy? And I was like, that was Daniel. And Dad was like, that wasn't Travis, now was it? And I'm like, we're just friends, Dad. We're just friends. You're also an hour late being home. And I'm like, I had to find a way home.
Wow.
Yeah, because we didn't have cell phones at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there was cell phones, but
I didn't even get to go to prom. I only got to go to 2 snowballs, and that was it.
Bet you had your own prom.
for your birthday.
Huh?
It took you long enough, but you got one.
Oh, you're talking about birthday party. I was
Yeah.
like, what? What?
So
It's
okay,
that was different though. I mean, to be with all your high school friends and stuff like that. I didn't get to do all that.
I went to a snowball one time stag with all my friends, and do you remember that, Melissa? I think it
Mhm.
was you and Debbie and Stephanie who got me all ready and got me all
He
snazzy
was
up and
so
snatched.
pretty.
And oh my god, I remember
Is there
arriving.
pictures of this? I don't even. Did you get pictures taken? I don't
I
remember.
did. Yeah,
She
I've
I
got
don't
does.
think I've ever
pictures.
seen them.
What?
We'll put these pictures up on our little subscribers thing so they can.
I
Yeah, on
I wish
maybe on a
Oh,
bonus.
yeah, on the
I
bonus
wish
feed.
I had my first ever snowball pictures that I had went to, because the guy that I went with was like 4 inches shorter than me.
I remember
Ah,
these pictures,
yeah,
and but
I
you
don't
looked hot
have
as
I don't have
balls.
any, huh?
You looked hot as balls, though. I
Yeah,
remember. I
I
remember
just
seeing those pictures.
I just remember that the school played the video of the everybody walking in the entrance of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at school that day, and they played it, and me and this guy walks in, and everybody starts laughing because I'm so
Oh,
much taller than him, and I was like, but he was such a nice guy,
you
but
were also wearing heels too, so it wasn't.
Did
You
you
know.
wear the
that
blue
which I
dress?
should have never done. I should have never
Yeah.
done that.
Did you
So
wear that blue dress to it?
yes, I think so.
I love that blue
Yeah, that
dress.
was the dress you wore.
I remember when we were doing those home videos, I put it
That's
on
the one that you
purpose.
went, come and see me sometime. He was in that dress.
Yeah, no, I felt so pretty. I
It
felt
was
like
a beautiful dress. It really was.
Yeah.
yes.
Especially, well, from the '90s, but that shit's coming back. That dress would totally be in like style right
Oh
now.
yeah.
Oh my
I bet
gosh.
your daughter would be so pretty in it.
She would
Jenna,
laugh her
Jenna would look
laugh.
gorgeous in
She
that
would look good
dress.
in it.
But with a little alteration, that dress would look totally on par with what they're wearing
They
today.
are, yeah.
Because they're doing
Actually, she could
freaking.
she could have fit in that dress, because me and her actually is her size now is about the size I was then.
I know.
She's
Hmm.
gorgeous.
She's so.
I mean, I'm only 5'2.5", maybe 3. Let's go with 3. Let's round it up. But I mean, I couldn't be a model. But when I was young, I was pretty hot. It's pretty hot.
Hmm.
But
You are the
Melissa, on
tiniest
the
of
other
us.
hand, actual fucking model.
No,
And
no, was not her daughter. I had to pass down a little bit, but her daughter is.
you were also a model. Shut up. And yep, Jenna is totally a model. Super cute, super hot. And hey, if y'all looking for a model out there with no one that's needing some work,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about Melissa here. Melissa, you're still hot. What are you
I'm
talking about,
in the
girl?
50s club. I'm in the 50s club.
That's
Hey, you could
okay. There's people
totally
that
do
still need
some.
models in their 50s.
You could
Come
still
on
do
now.
some cataloging.
Who's going to model all that shit from AARP? Come on now.
For real though,
For
right?
real,
Who,
right?
who wants a daggone cooler bag, you know? They
Yeah,
seen the AARP. What was it? What did Adam say? He
yeah.
got the
Get the free
cooler?
cooler bag from Join
Yeah.
the 50s Club. Heck yeah. Can you imagine instead of just having a picture of the cooler bag, you had a hot 50 something, modeling that cooler bag? But hey, yeah.
Mine was actually today. I got one today. I should have kept it to seen a picture of it, but it was a donut shaped extension thing where you can plug different things up into it. And I was
Oh,
like,
it's great. I would like that better than the cooler one.
yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
So,
So yeah, we just got back from vacation, and um, my husband's birthday is very soon, and he's talking about how he becomes 55, you get senior discount. So so we've been kind of joking about all the cool senior discounts you can get,
Mm,
and can't wait till that happens. So we get the senior discount.
yeah, I'll never forget when Dre hit his time. and we were in IHOP, and I looked at the bottom and fine print. It said 55 and older gets, I think it was like 10%. I can't remember what it was off. And they have like their own little menu at IHOP just for senior citizens that you get this
Nice.
discount. And I was like, we could save some money if you'd eat off this block. He said, I'll do it one time. I'm not doing it. It was so funny.
Oh, baby, listen. So we're at the beach, and one of the things I've always wanted to do is like rent one of those golf carts and just be like, everywhere.
Girl.
And I always wanted to do it. And I was looking at it, and they were like, the senior discount on that is like 40% off, bro. And I'm like, bro. Lucky old bastards get the 40% off. But I was like,
Just because they're living on a fixed income, okay?
okay, okay.
They're living on their monthly
How
paycheck.
lucky are you? I would totally be like, okay, I'll take it. All right, so we just got a message from Stephanie. She has not been sucked up by a tornado. She's all right.
Well, good.
She's
Good.
not. She's not going to Neverland or
She
where.
tasting the rainbow.
Where? What's it? I can't remember. Where does it go? Where's Dorothy go? Oz,
What?
motherfucker! It's in Neverland.
She couldn't remember
Okay.
Wizard of Oz.
Gosh, I was like, what are you trying to spit out?
I don't know anymore. My brain is dead.
So
I'm like Neverland. That's not right. What was
No,
Neverland?
it's the Land of Oz.
Neverland is freaking Peter Pan.
So
What the
it's-
hell am I talking about?
So
Jesus.
I never got to tell my
Tinkerbell.
story in high school. You guys got to tell your guys' stories.
Oh my gosh.
Let's hear it.
The only cool
Dang.
thing I did in high school was I got to do the reenactment of the dance for Dirty Dancing.
I know she never shut it up about it. Too.
Oh,
Hey,
my God.
dude, I dated that jock too.
She's like, oh.
And then I dumped him.
Nobody puts Babe in the corner.
Nobody put Cynthia in the
our
corner.
art teacher, Miss Fopahan,
She only liked you because of me. Anyway, go ahead.
true, she's probably the reason why she liked me, but
No.
but she said to me, she's like, we're so doing performance arts this year, and this is like my junior year, and I was like,
It was one of her dreams, man, for like ever. She was like trying to get us to do it back in my years, and I'm like, hell
so
no.
it started out with swing dancing, and I liked it. I had a great time, and then she kind of teamed me and the jock up as partners because I guess she wanted me to put me with the cutest guy and one of the popular guys in school. And I'm like,
Cynthia want to be put with the cutest guy. Tell the truth.
not going to complain. Anyway, so we're dancing, and he's actually got moves. He's doing really well. And then she's like, okay, so we're going to put on a program, and it's going to be showed to the entire school, and then it's going to be put on our town live broadcast. And I'm like, do what? So then she's like, yeah. So we end up choosing to do the actual dance from the movie Dirty Dancing at the end and I even did the lift and everything. So it was great. It was on video at one point, but I think somebody recorded over it. And then
I wish there was like a archive somewhere in the school system that has those on microfiche or something to where we can see that stuff. And actually, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just had a memory of a class that I went to. We did a time capsule, and I don't know if they ever opened it, but go ahead.
The only other really cool thing that happened when I was in high school, which was kind of funny, was I was in drama. And they decided that we were going to put on a skit for drinking and driving awareness. So they had a car that's been totaled, and they pulled it onto the high school grounds, and they had all the elementary schools come in for a field trip. And me and my ex-husband, which we were dating in high school, was acting as the main characters that got in the car accident and died. And there's a song called, I cannot remember the name of it, but it goes, oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me.
That is Pearl Jam.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. Anyway, so they're playing that song. We're acting it out. And then I die. So they cover me up and they keep putting me inside of an ambulance. What I didn't know is they snuck in the freaking funeral home hearse on their last performance. And they stuck me on a gurney, tightened it down extra tight. I have the thing above my head, can't see anything. Next thing I know, I feel myself getting rolled in and I hear the door shut. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, guys, unhook me. I can't move. Guys, it's quiet. So I use my hands, and I'm going to show you. So I use my hands and I grab the like blanket and I'm inching it down my body like this. And I get my face uncovered and I look over and I see the freaking windows with the curtains, and I start screaming. I freaking out. And I look down at my feet because I can raise my head, and they're outside the window of the door laughing. They're all laughing their asses off at me. I'm like, get me out of here. God, that freaked me out.
That's when you're claustrophobic just really kicked in, didn't
yes,
it?
and I'm very claustrophobic. So here I am,
gosh.
like, I know I never want to be in this unless I'm dead. So please get me out. So yeah, that was something that was pretty funny that happened to me.
Oh my God, I would be killing somebody. I'd be like, whoa.
But yeah, that was my my sophomore year that happened. Yeah, it was interesting because I got out of class like 2 days doing that skit there at school, the whole entire day. And then I got to play as Janis Joplin and did the drug awareness week. And I had to go to all the elementary schools and I had to pretend I was singing Janis Joplin, and then I would have to fall over dead because of, drug overdose. And they would tell the story about her over my dead body. And then I would get up and walk. We should probably.
Yep, that's our time for tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and please, again, if you want to talk about something, send us a message. It could be anonymous. If you don't want us to know who you are or don't want us to mention your name, we won't do that.
We got plenty of ways for you to drop a line. We've got Facebook, Instagram, we've got
TikTok.
TikTok, thank you. And
YouTube.
We've got YouTube. And we also have on Spotify, if you want to leave us a voice message, you can also do that. And on multiple of those, you don't have to use your real name. So if you want to use an anonymous name, absolutely go for it. We'd love to hear your thoughts, even if it's a negative one. If you want to tell me I'm a fatty 2x4, go for it. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't care.
Sticky stones may break my bones, but words
right.
will
Words will never hurt me. And I'm absolutely cool with critiques. And if you are enjoying our show and you would like to support us, please head on over to Patreon or sign up for our new membership that we got through Spotify. However you want to do it. It's awesome. Yeah. We're going to be posting some members only clips that you'll only get to see if you are a member of our Patreon or their Spotify. And let me just say, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be hilarious, and it's a little bit more different, more video centric than the podcast is. So yeah, but it's going to be super juicy, super fun. Head on over there. It's only $2.99 a month. Come on, y'all. Spend more of that on a coffee. Senior citizen discount for coffee. So see you over there, and love y'all, and we'll see you next week. Bye.